What's an avoidant? Let's talk about avoidant attachment style in today's video. Many of us are avoidant in one way or another in our life, and having these traits are normal. Most of us have this. But if it turns into a personality style, an ongoing way of relating to life and relationships with others, then we want to dig deeper into what's going on here with all this avoidance. Why am I an avoidant? So now you're growing up, you're in adulthood, you crave being close with somebody, but at the same time you're afraid of it. It's very contradictory, isn't it? So when I say they crave closeness, absolutely. They have as many deep feelings of wanting to connect as anybody else who grew up in a healthy family. But see, they're going to need this or want it on their terms. Well, healthy relationships and friendships don't work like that. So now friendships, of course, are much more safer than romantic relationships. So sometimes avoidance in romantic relationships, they may withdraw fairly quickly. A lot of avoidants are excellent at breaking up, let's say. In fact, they may say to their partner, someone they're dating, you know what, I really care for you, but let's just be friends. And then likely that's confusing to their partner because the partner's like, this is going great. We're falling in love. Why are you pulling away? And they're not understanding why this person they're starting to love is saying, let's be friends. Well, they don't want to be friends. They want more. But you have to realize to an avoidant, it's a happy medium, isn't it? It's a way to still enjoy a sense of connection, but not get too close. Let's not call it a relationship, but let's be friends. Could be friends with benefits, of course. So if a kid's growing up and they're not being heard, they're taught to repress their emotions, then they may grow up with a strong sense of independence. I'm just going to take care of myself because I've learned it's not safe to share who I really am. So as they get into their adult life, they may have a history now of withdrawing somehow from romantic relationships, even from close friendships. There's always a bit of a wall there. They can be great people, have lots of acquaintances and friends even, but how deep do these friendships or romantic relationships go? So the emotional suppression they had to do at home growing up oftentimes will lead to a fear of abandonment. After all, their own parents abandoned them in a way, right? They really didn't want to get to know them. So now there's a fear of abandonment, a fear of intimacy, getting too close to people. See, if they get too close, they're likely going to feel exposed. And that's just horrifying to somebody who was raised in a traumatic situation growing up. Can't be exposed. Maybe your family used that as ammunition against you even if you tried to tell the truth when you were growing up. You're sharing something very personal and vulnerable, and they turn it around and use it as ammunition against you to ridicule you, to put you down, instead of supporting the child and the child being able to open up in an authentic way and share who they really are. You gotta think, a close relationship, romantically or with a good friend, is a threat to their independence. They learn to be strongly independent as a way to survive their childhood. And it starts forming early on. It could be that they were witnessing some sort of trauma growing up. Maybe they were a victim of neglect. They were abused in some way. Perhaps they witnessed a lot of conflict at home. Their needs were always unmet. In fact, it was unsafe for them to express their needs. What I want? Who cares what I want? Nobody seems to care. And so think of that growing up. Think of bringing this into your adult life. It's going to be scary to risk getting close to somebody. Now, you may be able to do that and have a romantic relationship, let's say, or a good friend, but the avoidant personality style may really struggle with this. It can be very complicated. It's not going to come easy. Healthy relationships involve compromise. They're kind of 50-50-ish. Sometimes we're very vulnerable with a friend or a romantic partner, and we trust them enough to hold a safe space for us. But see, for somebody who's avoidant, nobody held a safe space for them growing up. And it goes deep in terms of fight or flight even. This is about their survival, a survival technique they needed in childhood. Now, there may have been some closeness in their family growing up to some degree, but maybe it was very inconsistent. Maybe it was very unpredictable. Close one month and complete chaos and family turmoil the next. What's a kid going to do with that? So what's contradictory too is then even sometimes after the relationship may end, they still may be trying to pull you back. That can happen. And then the healthier person who thinks it's now over is wondering, why is my ex-boyfriend or girlfriend calling me? Why are they trying to get in touch with me? It's because the avoidant doesn't really want to let you go. It's just that it wasn't safe. But no, I still need you in my life. I still want you in my life. So it's very sad, isn't it? We have to have a lot of empathy for this. There's the push, pull, that they're doing now in their adult life based on their childhood trauma. In a way, what they're saying is, I just want to deal with the part of me and you that feels really fun and good, and I don't want to deal with the part of you and me that risks me feeling exposed or dealing with this fear I have. So for people who notice avoidant traits within themselves, begin to ask yourself where you think that may have started. You probably are going to want to deal with this in therapy because it's going to tie into some childhood trauma, which we're not going to solve like this, right? We're going to have to delve into it a bit in therapy. And also, it's a good place to practice being vulnerable and feeling safe is in a therapist's office. That'll give you a good start to see what that's like, which then after some therapy where you're practicing this, you can then bring this into your everyday life, hopefully. And for those of you who have friends or a romantic partner who you notice some avoidant traits, see if you can have a conversation about it with them, just with I statements. Point out what you're noticing about what it's like for you to be around the conditions an avoidant may be setting up, but also what you're hoping for. Just begin a two-way conversation, and hopefully that can bridge some of the fear and anxiety the avoidant has about getting too close to somebody. So it's a gray area. It takes some work. First thing is we have to acknowledge that it's an issue, number one, and in the safety net of a therapist's office, one can begin unthreading this, working through the trauma which caused this in the first place, and then bringing that energy into a new life where one is willing to risk and share and be vulnerable and show love and receive love, and therefore build healthy friendships and romantic relationships, etc. Love to know any thoughts you may have. Please leave them in the comments section below. Please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel if you like these kind of videos. And until next week, this is Brad Shore signing off from Ask a Shrink.